Hello and welcome back to Gimmicky Tech, the informational series where YouTube's #1 degenerate tells you how to play a waifu deck. So, what waifu deck could I be doing after pretending I don't have an unfinished script ready to go for Charmers because it's still my #1 vote for best waifu archetype in terms of card art? Well, it's obviously Witchcrafters, everyone's favourite waifu deck before Dragon Mains came out, and Dragon Mains are soon going to be supplanted by Evil Twins, and then I don't know, who knows what we're going to get after that. It's nice not talking about legacy decks for once, but on the other hand, we're looking at an archetype that only saw its meta relevance in Duel Links, baby steps, my friends. We will talk about Shadows or something probably more popular like that is also actually playable in the meta, one day. But for now, you must strap up our wallets, secure our bank accounts, and make sure we set a budget, because we're going to cover the deck that set the bar for side set waifu decks in terms of expensiveness. Starting with Infinity Chasers in 2019, this archetype was an expensive short print of a set. Considering their Searcher, their boss monster, and one of their staple cards, and their Archetypal Reborn were short print Seeker Rares in a set where the other two archetypes only had like 1 to 2 short prints. It was showing the money-grubbing hands of Konami as they tapped into the inner Bushiroad and decided on to capitalize on the waifu deck market. I remember on release, me and my podcast co-host Ethan, we would tear through boxes of Infinity Chasers, so he could build his Infinity track because I know he loves his machines. But all we had to show of it after all that was like 2 Varies, 3 Pitteries, and 2 Holidays. We did not see a single creation, and when I think about it, he didn't even see like a single outrigger extension for Infinity tracks. So Infinity Chasers was pretty, expensive if you wanted to build one of those decks. It didn't get better, well, any better at least, with Rising Rampage making Golem their main protection card for, Witchcrafters and, in general, Spellcasters, a secret rare. But fortunately, Konami showed some mercy, with Dual Overload reprinting Very and Curation, so they were cheaper. And then, Charmer Structure gave us a common reprint of Golem, which was great. And then, the other 3 post-support cards after Golem was actually rather cheap super rares. So, the deck is somewhat more reasonably priced now, but it didn't stop me from wasting nearly $200 trying to build the decks in max rarity, which isn't too bad considering Dragon Maid prices, and I have spent worse on other unmentionable things. Putting my personal spending habits aside, the archetype never really had any real meta presence due to how slow the deck is, but it doesn't stop the deck from being quite the nuisance, so let's get to it. So, starting with the monsters, we're going to be covering all the normal summonable monsters, since from 1 to 4, they all have the same effect. They'll let you tribute them and discard a spell to special summon another Witchcrafter from the deck. Of course, what makes them different is the graveyard effects, and this is where the ratios come in, so, time to rapid fire for these girls. So first things first, Schmidt is a free off since you can dump any Witchcrafter card into the graveyard, which is just a plus in the case of this deck, especially since your spells are going to be floating, and then you got the other Witchcrafters that are graveyard effects. Pittery is another free off since it's a draw and discard effect, which is yet again just great for milling through your deck, and also just, well, yet again dumping cards. Pottery is a debatable one-off since while her effect is super situational, and let's be honest, the monster ratio for your deck is going to be like super low. You really want to be maxing out on your spells where you can. So Pottery, if you don't really want to run her unless you want to increase the chance of you bricking. With that said, Genie is a 2-off for me since she isn't only a 1-for-1 target. She has a far better but still situational graveyard effect that is useful in a pinch. Moving into the high level cards, Eel and Hane are first up. And I run them at 2 apiece, but you could probably get away with running 1 Ideal. Before Eternity Code, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to run 2 Ideals due to its ability to unpick your other cards with its on-field effect. But now with Unveiling, you can kind of just run ideal for as a situational graveyard revival and mainly a beat stick. So you can run one if you want. Hain on the other hand is super useful with the card effect target protection and the quick effect card removal. While 3 is a Brick City trip, 2 is more than perfectly fine. Now covering your boss monsters. Let's get the actual one out of the way. Madame Very, outside of being a very confusing case of maybe being a legal lolly, it's your go-to boss monster and the main part of your deck. Very offers monster board disruption via Mass Negate and enables your other spellcasters to become a massive beat stick. It's also very easy to protect this card via cards like By Street, Hain, and the Hand Trap Golem. While she is generic spellcaster support, she has the bonus effect with Witchcrafters, where she can recover Witchcrafter spells from the grave. But let's be honest, just use the bounce effect. It's really good. Witchcrafter spells come with self-recursion, so just use the bounce. Honestly, just use it. Golem also opens up rank 8 plays, which we will get to later, but we will talk about tech cards when we get to that part. As for ratios, 2 vary since she is a brick even with unveiling, and 3 golems because seeing this hand trap in your hand is always going to be fun for your opponent. Moving to spells, we have a lot to cover, so I'm going to group the spells up for the sake of making it easier for me when I do the audio recording. First, we have the normal spells of Creation, Holiday, and Collaboration. From these 3, Creation and Holiday are your 3 off staples. Creation is your Searcher, and Holiday is your Monster Reborn. Easy as that. You can run 2 Holidays if you want, but I rather use 3 myself. Collaboration I like to use at 1 since I only use it to make attacks safe, or to swing for potential OTKs with Very's boost effect. During the 2 quick plays, we have Draping and Unveiling, and these are both personally Fios, but in different ways. Unveiling not only lets you special summon a Witchcraft from your hand, it makes all following spellcaster summons safe afterwards, making Unveiling a really good bait-out card and is mandatory for unbricking your hands. Draping is a back row balance with the number of cards you can pick depending on the number of Witchcrafters you control, and gives this deck amazing outs to shit like Mystic Mind and other cards that you can't pop under certain boards. I personally like running 2 Drapings in main and 1 in spare as a side, but you can run 1 Draping and 2 in the side if you want. Finally, we have the 2 continuous spells, Scroll and By Street. By Street is a straight up mandatory one-off for its protection effect alone, and I like to side 2 more just in case. The normal way you will be getting By Street onto the field is via Schmidt's Dump, which is why you can get away with it at 1 in most situations. Scroll on the other hand is just another name and discard follow you that you can run at 2 since you're rarely going to be using its draw effect. Obviously, if you really want, you can also run that at 1, but run it at 2, because then when you slide in the 2 By Streets, you can just replace the scrolls, so easy enough. For the final piece of support, we have the Traps, Masterpiece, and Patronus. Masterpiece used to be a debatable 3-off, but with Patronus, it's more of a situational side deck option. You see, the thing that makes Masterpiece great is the ability to vote as spells in the graveyard, including your unsearchable staples, provided your opponent uses them. And it had a really cool graveyard effect for comeback plays. With Patronus, I kind of see Masterpiece as a situational card, because yes, while this card searches your staples, you can't really afford to run so many traps, and Patronus just offers more in the long run. With that said, Patronus is a 1-off, maybe a 2-off. It comes down to how consistent you want to be with it in your hand. This deck lives or dies by the fact you have spells in your hand, so I like to run a very high spell ratio, and that's why I personally run it at 1. While it does recover your monsters for spell searching, I still don't like seeing it in my hand at the start that often, but if you disagree, try it at 2 and see if you like it yourself. I won't hold it against you. If you like running it more at 2 over 1, just don't run it at 3, that's just, well, stupid. So that's all the support the Archetype currently has up to date, and if I can just go on a small tangent, why isn't Golem a level 6? Well, I like how it's a level 8, giving a rank option to the strategy, but considering each Witchcrafter is unique in its own level, we don't have a level 6 Witchcrafter yet, so I it just seems like a missed opportunity to make it so. Like, who knows, maybe Konami is planning to give us a level 6 eventually, and I'll be interested in seeing what it does. But anyway, with, all that out of the way, let's move to the main selling point of these videos, the fun tech options. To be completely honest, this segment is going to be exclusively covering spells, since you can't really afford to splash monsters or trap with the monster lineup being just, so tight already, and traps don't really offer much to this deck. Like, my only monster suggestions would be Mana Dragon as an alternative to Golem if you want to protect your back row cards over your monsters. There's also Magician's Soul if you feel like breaking your bank account in half, which you can swap in for Genie. My only trap suggestions is Magical Explosion if you like random burn cards, and Anti-Spell Fragrance for those mirror matches you occasionally will meet in terms of Witchcrafters. I always recommend you check out my Gracekeeper video for more spell card suggestions, and while there are going to be some overlaps between my recommendations between those two videos, there's still some unique cards in that video, so please go check it out. Not covering any actual stables and going through the cards you could actually main over, siding for certain matchups, let's cover the normal spells first. My first recommendation is Malphite's Fusion as a one-off. This is more of a deck filling option when you don't have anything else you would rather run, and functionally, it works as an upstart. It's a 0 and draw power in every situation, but seeing you can just discard it for cost and then get a draw out of it isn't, bad. But if you want a more funky alternative, may I recommend Card of Fate? This was my one-off deck card filler until I got my copy of Malphite's Fusion, and it's just really ridiculous fun if you like to gamble. Plus, with a deck like this, you aren't really losing with a card like this. Every time I used it, it was either I got the card I wanted, or a card that I was going to need anyway, or it did the job regardless. Speaking about cards getting the job done regardless of the result, reasoning. You can get a free monster or a free graveyard effect or a holiday target from this, and with all the different levels and low monster ratios, you'll be milling your Witchcrafter spells and probably, they won't guess the right number either. So, free monster, yay. Moving to other normal spells, because there's a lot of them, so this segment might just end up being Ghost Tricks all over again, so let's get this done fast. Transmodify and Downbeat if you want more restrictive Witchcraft mechanics. Galaxy Cyclone because there's a more restrictive MST that you can discard and still get their effect. Reversal Quiz because it's a funny one-off and you can call spell and probably be right half the time. Chosen One because the likelihood of you being activating this is high due to the spell to monster ratio. Druid Path if you prefer to have your spellcasters back in your hand over being in the deck. The Spellbook Engine minus Blue Boy for draw power, and feel free to play a copy of Crowley if you want to search them. Spiritual Entanglement for temporal removal. Wiseman Chalice in certain matchups if you want to run XYZ Toolbox over Ghost Trick. Well, Ghost Reaper targets. Why did I say Ghost Tricks? Anyway, question, because just like Reverse Quiz, it's a stupid fun one-off card. Lullaby of Obedience for more stealing fun. Moving on to the last two, because if I don't stop now, I'm going to be here all day, listing options. Afterglow for deck thinning and just being able to have the chance to burn your opponent for 4k. And finally, Trial and Tribulation, because Witchcrafters have to treat themselves as spark costs, why not just keep plussing off of that? Now I know there's more possible options, but for the sake of my sanity, I'm not going to cover them, because there's like over 2,000 spell cards in the game now. If you want more recommendations, check out the Gracekeeper video for more spellcaster tech, and if there's still something I missed, feel free to throw it below in the comments. I'm just one man, I can't handle all this card reading. I would go insane and start thinking Holy Knight is a sensible investment if I kept reading through all these spells going, will this fit in Witchcrafters, to be honest. So yeah, just feel free to recommend if you got any, and that's honestly my favourite part of doing these sort of videos, because then people come out and like, well, here's something new that came out that might work in this deck. And it's pretty cool, just having these people come in and recommend. So keep going. Now for the only deck profile, because this is an archetype that benefits from tech options over variations, here's the deck list I run in real life. Feel free to replace any of those one-offs with, you dislike, with anything else you want to run, or free Cold by the Graves once you're allowed to have it back at free. Please, Konami, this is not how you just ignore the meta. You just go, ooh, let's just keep unlimiting and limiting Cold by the Grave. Like, please, just keep it at free. Okay, if you want to hit problem cards, don't hit Cold by the Grave. That's like our only counter to the problem cards. Like, come on. Witchcrafters, the beginning of flash in the pan waifu decks designed to suck in the card art collection market, but it doesn't mean it's a bad deck. While it lacks the competitive edge of other decks, I feel like it's a more than serviceable playstyle, making it a quite competent deck. Sure, it's slow and gets screwed over by the almighty anti-kaiju tech, but I still love this deck because it has the tools to be a good deck for newer players. Like, I generally think a new player could play this archetype easily because its playstyle is so straightforward. It has no complicated combos and a very simple and cute theme that new players can get behind. But you mean, the last part could be untrue. It could just me just trying to justify the fact that I want Veri to call me her little PogChamp. Not Witchcrafter Veri, by the way, because Magicus Veri is where it's at. Anyway, play Witchcrafters if you want to play a waifu archetype, and you could just play Charmers, the far more cheaper and viable option if you want. I'm just saying. For making it to the end of this video, not as long as I thought it would be. It's like, not bad actually. But anyway, thanks for watching this. Really just, I think I want to say a pathetic excuse for an Archetype Archive on Witchcrafters. I mean, I love this deck, don't get me wrong, but God, just when I looked at all the spells you could run, I went, I do not want to do a Ghost Tricks again. So anyway, we should probably adjust the elephant in the room. Why isn't the Phantom Knights video done yet? Mainly because I went all the way down here and thought, time for the tech options. I mean, yeah, I even updated the script when I realised I was going to do the Witchcrafter video first before I did Phantom Knights. Seriously, I just don't want to go through the idea of going all this dark support that Phantom Knights could have, especially when the Phantom Knight video is very 4 pages long before we had the tech options. This was 5 pages long, mainly because if I shrink the text on conclusion, it would probably be less. But yeah, I was not looking forward to doing a Phantom Knight video, especially with October being so messy. And then I was like, I'll just do it around November, and then early November, and then early November was so busy, and then I remembered why I didn't want to do the script, and then it was like, ugh. But anyway, another thing I want to mention is I'm not going to be redoing Gimmicky Tech for a bit. I want to finish off the completes videos, because completes videos are going to be taking more of my time, I feel like. Especially with me streaming as well on the side, which I'm doing right now actually, So I'll put a link to my Twitch if you want to watch me edit, because I just thought it would be a better use of my time. So yeah, I don't really have a streaming schedule, it's just whenever I feel like it. But yeah, because I'm going to try and make a goal to make more edited content. We went through a serious drought with the podcast, Jesus Christ. Or just not doing edited videos, because that's when I was going through Yu-Gi-Oh! Burnout. So I had to try to find alternative forms of just getting more video content out there. So yeah. Anyway, if I get around to the next video, hopefully sometime in the future, maybe not December, depends. I'm looking to finish either the Phantom Knight script or the Charm script. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I think the Charm script is gonna be more viable, mainly because then I can just do what I did for this video and reference both Witchcrafter and Grayskeeper scripts for more tech options. So, yeah, because I feel like if I'm gonna go into the Charm script, it's more gonna be like what I did with Monarchs and just going through why this kind of not Monarchs. I guess Grayskeepers would be a better example. And going why I don't think the deck isn't that good, or what the new support do for this, something like that. Not like I would traditionally do Gimmicky Techs. But can I really call it traditional when we only have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos? With this being the 8th, probably not. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. I just dropped my biometals. Yeah. Honestly, if you there's parts where you can hear me just go, this bee just sucking on a biometal because I'm still sick with a really terrible cough. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching and goodbye.